AITA for exposing my fiancé's gold digger plan right after our wedding? I have to tell you about the biggest mind blow of my life. I'm Jake, a 30-year-old guy, and I own a landscaping business that I started from scratch about 6 years ago. We're doing pretty well. I have a couple of crews, some decent commercial contracts, and we're known as the go-to guys for high-end backyard renovations in the wealthier parts of town. Up until 3 weeks ago, I was engaged to Lauren, a 29-year-old woman. We'd been together for 3 years and engaged for 1. The wedding was supposed to be next weekend. Yeah, supposed to be. When we first started dating, Lauren seemed perfect, smart, funny, and supportive of my business. You know how it is. She worked at a marketing agency, made good money, but always showed interest in what I was doing. Looking back, maybe too much interest. But when you're in love, you don't see those things. Her older sister, Jen, is divorced and got a massive settlement after splitting from her ex-husband, who owned a construction company. Ever since we got engaged, Jen was always around, giving Lauren advice about marriage. I didn't think much of it at first. Figured she was just being protective of her little sister. You need to understand his business before you get married, Lauren. Make sure your name is on everything, Lauren. Don't let him keep you in the dark about the finances, Lauren. She'd say these things in front of me, disguised as jokes. I guess it should have been a red flag, but I thought, whatever, it's just Jen, bitter about her divorce. Lauren would always laugh it off when I mentioned how annoying her sister was. A few months ago, Lauren started asking more detailed questions about my business. She wanted to know how much the contracts were worth, what our profit margins were, what expansion plans I had. At first, I thought it was great that she was taking an interest in my work, but then it stopped feeling like curiosity. It felt like an interrogation. Each question sounded less like, I'm interested, and more like, what's in it for me? It's hard to explain, but the way she pressed about the numbers, the contracts, the future plans, made me feel more like a target than a fiancé. But I pushed that thought down, told myself I was just being paranoid, that it was pre-wedding stress. Then she started pushing the prenuptial agreement issue. My friend Tom, who's also my lawyer, suggested we get one, since my business existed before I met her. Lauren said she just wanted to understand it better before she signed. I told her Tom was finalizing it. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. I was working late in my home office. Lauren thought I was out at a meeting with a big potential client, but the meeting got rescheduled last minute. She had her college friends over, including Jen. They were having a good time in the living room, getting louder as the night went on. I was finishing up some quotes when I heard my name through the door. Jake has no idea what's coming after the wedding, Lauren said, her voice a little slurred from the alcohol. Something in her tone made me freeze. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I opened the voice recorder on my phone and just listened through the door. The prenup is garbage, Lauren continued. Jen found a lawyer who found 3 different ways around it. After the wedding, we're taking everything he has. Why'd he even bother with a prenup? One of her friends asked. He thinks he's protecting both of us. Lauren laughed, a cold tone I'd never heard from her before. But Jen's been schooling me on how this works. I've been documenting emotional abuse for months. All made up, obviously. But who's going to question a crying woman? I felt sick to my stomach as I listened to them discuss their plan in detail. Lauren explained how, bit by bit, she would put her name on my business assets after the wedding. How she'd been slowly isolating me from friends who might interfere. How she'd waited until my company reached a specific value before pushing me to get married. After the wedding, we're taking it all, she laughed. The house, the business, everything. Then I'm moving to Tampa, like Jen did after her divorce. She got half of everything, plus alimony. I learned from the best, Jen added. Men are so stupid when they're in love. I recorded it all, almost 45 minutes of them discussing their scheme. When they finally left, I waited in my office until Lauren went to bed. Then, quietly, I packed some clothes, grabbed my important documents, and checked into a Motel 6 across town. That night, after hearing her words, something in me just shut off. It was like a switch had flipped and any love or connection I felt for her completely vanished. I didn't feel betrayed. I felt hollow, like she'd reached inside me and ripped something out, and now it wasn't there anymore. I wasn't Jake, her fiancé, anymore. I was just some guy she was waiting to destroy. And, in that moment, I stopped seeing her as the woman I loved. I started seeing her as a stranger who'd been living in my house, in my life, pretending. The next morning, I called Tom and sent him the recording. "Jake," he said after listening to it, "don't go home. Don't confront her. We have to handle this very carefully." "What do I do?" I asked, still in shock. "First, act normal. Don't let her suspect you know anything. Second, we need more evidence. The recording is good, but we need to build a stronger case." So that's what I did. I texted Lauren, saying I'd landed an emergency business project out of town and would be gone for 2 weeks. "That's great, honey," she replied. "Don't worry about the wedding preparations. I've got everything handled. Just focus on getting that contract." Reading that message, knowing what I knew now, made my stomach churn. 3 years together, and I had no idea who this person really was. So here I am, in this cheap motel, trying to understand how my life turned into this nightmare. Tom's helping me plan the next steps, and I'm playing along with Lauren, answering her texts and calls about the wedding. "Miss you, babe. Can't wait for our big day," she texted last night. "Miss you too. Almost there," I replied, wondering how I never noticed how fake she sounded before. $43,000 in wedding deposits, most non-refundable. All our friends and family flying in next week. Everything planned down to the last detail. And me sitting in a motel room, planning how to ruin it all in the most devastating way possible. Because if there's one thing I learned building my business from the ground up, it's this. Nobody messes with what I've built. Anyway, I'll update when I have more info, because right now my mind is racing. Update 1. First, thanks everyone for the comments and support on my last post. Some of you are ruthless with your revenge suggestions, but I appreciate the sentiment. It's been about a week since I found out my fiancée, Lauren, was planning to ruin me after our wedding. I'm still living in this crummy motel, with paper-thin walls and a mattress that feels like it's stuffed with Legos. The couple next door are either madly in love or filming homemade adult films. Either way, sleep is pretty much impossible here. Every night, I lie awake, mentally replaying our entire relationship, trying to find the warning signs I missed, and there were a lot of them. Like how she always deflected conversations about her past relationships. Like how she'd subtly suggest I spend less time with certain friends. Like the casual comments she'd drop about other business owners who had smart wives who helped them manage things. I was completely blind, but I've been acting totally normal with Lauren. I call her every night to give her updates on my fake emergency project and ask about wedding details. She's ecstatic, telling me about flower arrangements and DJ playlists, while I'm sitting here knowing it's all a sham. It's like watching someone dig their own grave, thinking they're building a swimming pool. "The wedding is going to be perfect," she told me last night. "The dress fitting went great, and Jen helped me pick out the perfect shoes." Oh yeah, Jen, the divorced sister who's been coaching Lauren on how to fleece me. After that first night, I started doing some digging of my own. Turns out, Jen didn't just get divorced. She systematically destroyed her ex-husband's construction business. The guy had to declare bankruptcy and move back in with his parents at 42. She got the house, half of his future earnings, and somehow even the vacation cabin his parents had gifted him before they even met. The guy was so broken, he didn't even fight for anything. I found all this out after spending hours scrolling through old social media, finding mutual friends who knew them, and even unearthed a couple of articles about the bankruptcy. The more I dug, the clearer the pattern became. Jen wasn't just a resentful ex-wife. She was a predator, and she'd found her next victim through her sister. But then I decided to dig deeper into Lauren's past. Remember, I'm stuck in this motel with nothing but time and a burning need to understand how badly I'd been played. I called a few old mutual friends, pretending I was putting together a wedding surprise and needed stories about Lauren's past relationships for a tribute video. What I found out made me physically ill. This wasn't the first time Lauren had tried something like this. Her boyfriend in college had a trust fund, and she tried to get access to it. Then she dated a restaurant owner for a year, until he figured out her game. Neither had as much money as I did, so, when her plans didn't work, she dumped them. The worst part was realizing I never really knew her. I spent a whole day just sitting on that motel bed, wondering if I was crazy. Maybe I misinterpreted the conversation. Maybe I was overreacting. But every time those doubts crept in, I'd play the recording. After the wedding, we're taking everything he has. That cold laugh. I almost broke down and confronted her 3 times. Almost drove to the house in the middle of the night to wake her up and scream at her for betraying me. But each time I reminded myself that's exactly what she'd want. For me to look like the unstable, angry guy to have proof of her fake emotional abuse. So, instead, I got smarter. I remembered our house has a security system with cameras that record audio. I logged in remotely and started reviewing the footage from the last week. And there it was, Lauren and Jen in our living room, going over the details of their plan. Once you're married, it doesn't matter what he wants, Jen was saying. The courts always favor the wives, especially if there's documentation of mistreatment. I just hope he doesn't push back on putting me on the business, Lauren replied. That's where the real money is. He won't. Men like him are predictable. They think with their little head and their ego. Just keep feeding both, and you'll be fine. Hearing them talk about me like I was some easy mark actually helped with the pain. At first, I was devastated. 3 years of my life with someone who was just using me. Now I'm just angry and motivated. The next step was harder. I had to get into her laptop. When we talked on the phone, I casually mentioned I'd left some work files on our desktop computer and needed them. I asked her to please email them to me. While she was doing that, I remotely connected to the computer using my admin credentials and installed a keylogger. 2 days later, I had her passwords. I got into her email, her cloud storage, everything. And there it was, a document titled Jake's Abuse Journal, with fake entries dating back 18 months. Things like, Jake yelled at me today when I asked about the business finances. He said it wasn't my business and I wouldn't understand anyway. I felt so belittled and scared. Jake got mad when dinner wasn't ready, slammed the door, and gave me the silent treatment all night. Jake controlled what I wore to his business party. He said my dress was too revealing and made me change. None of this happened. I've never yelled at her, never given her the silent treatment, never told her what to wear. In fact, I'm the one who cooks most of our meals because I know how to and she can burn water. I also found emails between her and Jen going back 2 years. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment idea. They'd been planning this since before I even proposed. Jen had literally been giving her a step-by-step plan. The first year of marriage, just be perfect, one email said. Year 2, start documenting emotional abuse. Anything can be twisted if you write it down consistently. By year 3, you should have your name on everything. Then, boom, file the lawsuit when he least expects it. Another gem from Jen. Men are simple. Regular intimate relations and admiration will get you whatever you want. Just make him think adding you to the business accounts was his idea. The final piece of evidence came when I checked her bank records. She'd been stashing money in a secret account, about $155,000 so far. Money that had come from our joint account, which I mostly funded. And all of this while the wedding plans were still going full steam ahead. Lauren's been sending me pictures of decorations, asking my opinion on cake flavors, confirming with vendors. Only 10 more days until I'm Mrs. Walker, she texted this morning, with a bunch of heart emojis. Yeah, about that. Tom and I have been putting together a plan. At first, I just wanted to disappear, leave her at the altar, and let her figure it out on her own. But Tom pointed out that would just make me look like the bad guy to everyone who doesn't know the truth. Plus, Lauren could try to spin it as emotional distress and still try to go after my assets. So we're going with a different approach. There are times I still can't believe this is happening. Times I remember how happy I thought we were and start to doubt myself all over again. But then I look at all the evidence I've gathered and I know I'm doing the right thing. Tomorrow I'm going back home, pretending the emergency project is over. Lauren is planning a special dinner to welcome me back. What she doesn't know is that I have some special plans of my own for her. For the next 9 days, I'm going to be the perfect, loving fiancé. I've accepted that the $43,000 in deposits is gone. Worth every penny to not be legally bound to this person. My business, which I've poured my heart and soul into for 6 years, is safe. That's what matters. I'll update after I get home and the final countdown begins. Wish me luck. This will be the performance of my life. Edit for those asking for more details about the evidence I have. The original recording. Screenshots of her emails, texts, and plans. The fake abuse journal. Financial records of the secret account. Security footage. Tom says it's more than enough not only to stop the wedding, but also to pursue legal action for attempted fraud. Update 2. Holy crap, you guys. It happened. It actually happened. I'm writing this from my new apartment, still processing everything, but I promised an update, so here goes. I went back home after my emergency project last week, and the second I walked through the door, Lauren was all over me, hugging, kissing, telling me how much she missed me. It was surreal, like watching a movie where someone's wearing a Lauren mask. All I could think about was the recording of her laughing about taking everything I'd built. The week leading up to the wedding was the hardest acting I've ever had to do in my life. Final cake tasting, picking up the rings, confirming last-minute details. Lauren would make comments that now had entirely different meanings to me. "I can't wait to help you grow the business," she'd say as we looked at photos of our honeymoon destination. "We should think about putting my name on the house deed after we get back from Hawaii," she casually mentioned at dinner. Each time, I'd just nod and say, "Sure, we can look into that." All the while, mentally adding another bullet point to my list of evidence. But there were moments when keeping my cool was like holding back a hurricane. Like when she brought out a surprise gift for our honeymoon, matching beach hats with Mr. and Mrs. embroidered on them. I had to walk away, lock myself in the bathroom, and stare at the wall until the urge to confront her passed. I was furious. The level of audacity was unbelievable. She was smiling, playing the perfect wife-to-be, while plotting to destroy everything behind my back. It took all my self-control to not walk out right then and there and end it. But I don't throw punches in the air. I strike when it counts. Jen was around constantly, helping with the wedding, but really making sure their plan was still on track. She'd ask questions disguised as casual conversation. "Jake, did you finalize that prenup yet? We just want to make sure Lauren's protected." Translation: our plan to circumvent it is still working. You must be so excited to have Lauren bring her marketing expertise to your business. Translation: you're about to lose half your company, sucker. I just smiled and nodded along, while Tom and I finalized our counteroffensive. Fast forward to the rehearsal dinner. We held it at a fancy steakhouse downtown. Both families, the wedding party, close friends, about 50 people total. Lauren was in her element, soaking up the congratulations, playing the radiant bride to perfection. Her parents were beaming, clueless about what their daughter and their other daughter had been plotting. Or, at least, I think so. Standing next to Lauren, listening to her laugh with her friends, watching her talk about our future, I felt like a ghost, like I didn't exist in her world anymore. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to the idea of me, to the idiot who was going to marry her and hand over his life. I looked at her and thought, I don't know this person. I wasn't nervous about the confrontation. I was relieved, because, after tonight, I would finally be free from pretending to love someone who never actually existed. Jen kept giving me these smug looks all night, like she was already counting my money. If she only knew what was about to happen. After dinner, during the toasts, Lauren's dad stood up and gave this heartfelt speech about welcoming me to the family, about how he was entrusting his little girl to a good man. All that sentimental stuff. For a moment, I actually felt bad for him. When the toast was over, Lauren was by my side, smiling like everything was perfect. I turned to her parents and said quietly, I need to talk to you both. It's important. Lauren's smile faltered. What's going on? She asked, looking concerned. Just come with me, I replied, keeping my voice even. She didn't argue. Her parents exchanged a look and followed me. Jen hesitated, clearly uneasy, but she had no choice. Refusing would have looked suspicious. As the door closed, Tom walked in behind us. Lauren's eyes widened in surprise at seeing my lawyer there. What's going on, Jake? Her dad asked. Is everything all right? No, it's not actually, I said. I think you should all hear this. I pulled out my phone and played the recording on full volume. The color drained from Lauren's face as her own voice filled the room. After the wedding, we're taking everything he has, the house, the business, everything. I watched as her expression shifted from confusion to absolute horror as she realized what she was hearing. Her parents looked stunned. Jen was staring at the floor. When the recording finished, I played a few key excerpts from their conversations caught by the home security system. Then I showed screenshots of the fake entries in Lauren's abuse journal, followed by the emails between her and Jen. Finally, the bank statements showing the money Lauren had been secretly transferring. Dead silence. When I was done, Lauren's mother had tears streaming down her face. Her father seemed to be having trouble processing what he'd just heard. Jen was staring fixedly at the floor. The wedding is off, I said calmly. Obviously, Lauren lunged at me, trying to grab my phone. You recorded me? That's illegal. Tom stepped forward. In our state, Recording a conversation you're a party to is perfectly legal. Furthermore, the security system in your home is registered in both of your names. He turned to Lauren. I'd advise you to avoid any physical altercations, Miss Davis. The worst part, I said, looking at Lauren, who was still in shock, is that I actually believed you loved me. Until 3 weeks ago. Her father finally found his voice. There must be an explanation. Lauren wouldn't do this. I handed him copies of all the evidence. She did. It's all here. Maybe you should ask Jen about her divorce while you're at it. This is all taken out of context. Jen started, but her father cut her off. Shut up. I've heard enough from you. Then, his expression changed completely. He looked at me and said in a cold tone, You think I'm an idiot, Jake? I know what's going on in the world right now. All this evidence, the recordings, the screenshots, this journal, it's all fake. Anyone can make it look like someone said anything these days. I just stared at him, unable to believe what I was hearing. My daughter would never do this. This is some sick attempt to get out of the wedding, and you're using fake evidence to do it, he said, jabbing his finger at me. Let me make something very clear. If you cancel this wedding, I will make it my personal mission to destroy your landscaping business. I have connections with half the commercial property owners in this town. Lauren had stopped crying and was looking back and forth between her father and me. Tom stepped forward. Mr. Davis, I assure you. Save it, he interrupted. I don't know how much this kid is paying you, but we can outbid him. This is slander, plain and simple. The wedding is already off, I said firmly, my voice returning. I already contacted the venue and the main vendors this afternoon. I'm not asking for refunds or compensation. Consider my portion of the expenses the price of finding out who Lauren really is before it was too late. You're making a big mistake, he growled. My lawyers are going to bury you. Lauren started crying again, but this time it was that ugly cry, the kind that doesn't even let you speak properly. Please, don't do this, she stammered. I made a mistake. No, Lauren, I said coldly. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This was a calculated plan to defraud me and destroy my life's work. There's a big difference. Don't you walk away from my daughter. Her dad yelled as I turned to leave. You have no idea who you're messing with. Lauren grabbed my arm. You can't just leave. Where are you going? We need to talk about this. I pulled my arm free of her grip. I don't live there anymore. I moved my things out yesterday, while you were at your final dress fitting. The look on her face when she realized I'd been playing her this whole week. Priceless. This isn't over, her father warned as I walked out. Not by a long shot. I left them in that room. Didn't address the other guests. Just got in my car and drove to my new apartment, the one I'd rented 2 weeks earlier. My phone blew up immediately. Lauren called 28 times in the first hour. Her dad was sending me threats. Her friends, my family, everyone trying to figure out what had happened. I only answered my parents, who'd flown in for the wedding. Gave them the short version. Mom cried. Dad just asked if I was sure about the evidence. When I explained what I had, he was silent for a moment, then said, I'll handle the relatives. You take care of yourself. And here I am, in my new apartment. Wedding day, officially canceled. $43,000 down the drain. But, honestly, the best money I've ever spent. The weirdest thing is, I don't even feel sad, just relieved, like I'd been carrying a weight for 3 years without realizing it, until it finally disappeared. Though I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about Lauren's dad following through on his threats. That man has some serious connections in this town. I'll update if anything major happens, but, for now, I just want to get some dinner and sleep in a bed that doesn't have a liar next to me. Edit for those asking if I'm worried about a slander lawsuit. No. Truth is an absolute defense against slander, and I have mountains of proof. Plus, I was careful and only showed the evidence to her immediate family. I didn't make it public. As for her dad's threats against my business, bring it on. I didn't build this company from the ground up just to be scared off by an angry father with connections. Update 3. Holy crap, you guys. Things have gone from bad to completely insane. After the showdown at the rehearsal dinner, Lauren's dad wasn't kidding about getting revenge. He started calling my clients. The next day, 2 of them canceled their contracts, citing concerns about our reliability. Then I got calls from the bank about irregularities with my business loan. Clearly, someone was pulling strings. But that was just the beginning. The day before what would have been our wedding, I was at my new apartment working when I heard loud banging on the door. I looked through the peephole and saw Lauren's dad, along with her two uncles, pretty big guys who own a construction company. "Open up, Jake. We just want to talk," her dad said. "Yeah, right." I stayed quiet, hoping they'd think I wasn't home. Then I saw one of the uncles pull out what looked like a lockpick set. These guys were actually trying to break in. I called 911 immediately. "Listen, Jake, this wedding is happening," Lauren's dad said through the door. "You've embarrassed our family enough. You're going to apologize to Lauren. You're going to show up tomorrow, and we'll forget this whole incident ever happened." "The police are on their way," I yelled back. That's when they really started pounding on the door. "You think the cops are going to help you? I have friends in the department. By the time they get here, we'll be gone, and you'll be coming with us." The door frame was starting to splinter. I ran to the bedroom, grabbed the baseball bat I keep for home defense, and barricaded myself in. They busted through the front door just as I heard sirens. Lauren's dad yelled through the bedroom door, "This isn't over. That business you built is finished. You'll be lucky if they let you mow lawns when I'm done with you." Finally, the police arrived, and everyone scattered. 2 officers took my statement, but they didn't seem particularly interested. One of them even asked if this was just pre-wedding jitters that got out of control. Unbelievable. I filed another police report, but I didn't stay. I grabbed some clothes and went to a friend's house. Called Tom immediately, who helped me get an emergency restraining order against all 3 of them. Later that night, Lauren started texting me. "My dad was just trying to fix things. No one has to get hurt if you just show up tomorrow. Please, Jake, don't make this worse." Wedding day came and went. I spent it at my friend's place, checking the security app for my apartment. They didn't come back. I also got frantic calls from the venue, asking where the heck the groom was. Lauren's last text that night: "You've made an enemy of the wrong family. I hope your little landscaping business was worth it." At this point, I'm legitimately worried. These people are unhinged. Tom says we have options: restraining orders against the whole family, possible criminal charges for the attempted break-in, and a cease and desist order for the interference with my business. I'm not going to lie. The scariest part is that I'm starting to believe Lauren's dad really does have connections. Like he claimed, one of the cops who responded to the incident was his high school buddy. And in the last 48 hours, 3 more clients have dropped us. I'm not giving up. I built my business from nothing, and I'll do it again if I have to. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared, not just for my business, but physically afraid of what they might do. I'll update when I can. For now, I'm staying at different friends' houses every night. Final update. It's been 6 months since everything went down with Lauren and her family, and I'm finally in a place where I can close this chapter of my life. The months after the wedding that wasn't were brutal. Lauren's dad followed through on his threats. I lost about 60% of my business in 2 months. Turns out, he really did have connections with most of the commercial property owners in town. Some of my crew quit when work dried up, and I had to downsize from 3 crews to just me and 2 loyal employees. As I expected, the police were useless about the attempted break-in. Mysteriously, the case lacked sufficient evidence, despite my security camera footage. Lauren's dad's old buddy in the police department made sure of that. In the end, I had to move about 50 miles away to a smaller town and basically restart my business. It was tough, but honestly, still better than marrying Lauren and being trapped with that family. The unexpected surprise was Katie. She stuck by me through all of this, even when I was practically starting over. "I've seen what they're capable of," she said. "I'm not letting them win." We got an apartment together in the new town, and she helped me rebuild the business. Her marketing background actually turned out to be really helpful for the new venture. Turns out her skills were legit, unlike Lauren, who just used her job as a front while she plotted to scam men. The harassment from Lauren's family eventually stopped when they realized I wasn't coming back. The weirdest thing happened 3 months ago. I was at a regional landscaping conference when I ran into Lauren's dad in the hotel lobby. He was there with his construction company, trying to network. When he saw me, he walked over. I braced myself for another confrontation, but instead, he just said, "You were right about my daughters." Turns out, after I left, Lauren and Jen's scam started to unravel. 3 more men came forward with similar stories. Then, Lauren's dad discovered they'd been embezzling money from the family business for years. The final straw was finding out they'd taken out credit cards in his name. "I owe you an apology," he said, looking genuinely broken. "I should have looked at the evidence instead of threatening you." I didn't say much, just nodded and walked away. Too little, too late, man. My business is finally growing again in the new town. Katie and I are good, even talking about getting married next year, with a much smaller ceremony this time, and a solid prenup we both agree on. This whole experience changed me. I'm more cautious now, yeah, but I also value honesty and transparency a lot more. I record important conversations out of habit. I vet potential clients more thoroughly, but I don't hold a grudge, which, honestly, sometimes surprises me. Last month I got a text from Lauren. "I'm sorry for everything. I was a different person back then." I didn't reply. There's nothing left to say. When I think about how close I came to marrying into that family, it still gives me chills. But then I look at where I am now, building something real, both in my business and with Katie, and I realize everything worked out the way it was supposed to. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. In my case, what didn't kill me led me to a better life than I would have had otherwise. So I guess that's it. Thanks for being with me on this crazy ride. If there's one thing I hope anyone learns from all this, it's this: trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Edit for those asking. Yes, I still record important conversations. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And for the guys messaging me saying, "Katie is just like Lauren," stop it. She was the only one who tried to warn me, and she's nothing like her ex-friend. Some people are just genuinely good. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.